Hi, David. All right, I've been listening for a very long time before you even had a show. Wanted to call in with a question to get things started. I love the NBA. I've watched my entire life, but it's obvious that the regular season just means nothing, and the play in the playoffs is so much better. And people talk about the long schedule, but there's the TV money coming in. Does anything ever happen where they actually will reduce the season, or the audience for the regular season becomes such an issue that they have to pivot to a new model? I just feel like something has to change because the regular season 82 games is so boring. Something's got to change. Good luck with all your success, and really happy for you and Coca. And talk to you next week. Bye.
It's always tough for people to exit voicemails, all of us, isn't it? Like, do we all do that when we leave a message? Though I think these days, Coca, no one leaves voicemails for anyone but me. I always find the exit to be clumsy. I just try to say what I have to say. Hey, give me a call back. And then if you don't hang up fast enough, you know there's going to be sort of silence, and there's no way you're going to pause long enough to hit three if you want to re-record your message. Forget about it. I'm not hitting three. I just want it sent. I'm going to hang up, but now I've paused enough that I guess I need to say one more quick thing. Hey, all right, have a good day. Took me 3 seconds to think about saying have a good day, but now I have. Here's how you should just end any voicemail to me. Just, hello, David, ask your question, and then boop, hang right up. This is a popular topic. Thank you for calling about it. I don't quite understand what it means that you've listened since before I had a show. Maybe you listened to Le Batard or to CBS, or maybe you just listened as I wax poetic as president of a baseball team or a guy who delivered newspapers. I don't know, but thank you for listening to Nothing Personal. By the way, shout out to someone I've worked with for 20, where are we? 23 years. Hi, Beth, my amazing assistant. I need new notepads. My notepads have the old logo. We need to get on that. Because look, I've got new coasters. DavidSampsonPodcast.com. It's in the merch store. I've told you, I showed you the coffee mug, but the notepads that I use, this is actually a real notepad from today, Coca. Nothing personal with David Sampson, old logo, but this is what I did, the research of the calculation. I'm showing it if you're watching this on YouTube or DraftKings Network. This is actually what I did, where I wrote down each city and the championships they had that we talked about in hour one. I have no idea why that just came to my head at all. All right, time for a voicemail. What do we got? Oh, we didn't answer the NBA one. All right, cut that. 377-4869. People ask about shortening seasons a lot. It's a big talk in baseball, going from 162 to 154. That would be epic, wouldn't it? Take away 8 home games in the baseball schedule. 8 total games, 4 home, 4 away. Couldn't get teams to agree on that. Couldn't get players to agree on that. Nothing. Zero traction. De nada. There was a labor stoppage just several years ago with the new labor agreement in baseball. Remember when the season started a week late and there was going to be a shortened season, but there was no way to agree on who was going to get paid what, when, where, how. So they still played the 162. Side note, and they extended the season further into November. Anyone remember that? I love the idea of going from 162 to 154 because 162 is too many, but we do have a revenue situation. It's not a TV revenue situation. All local TV deals, just so you're aware, they require you to make 150 games available to them. So if you play 154, you're fine. The complaint that regular season games don't matter. That's as old as the hill for sports like hockey, basketball, and for baseball. Any sport where there's more than 16 games or 14 games or 17 games in a regular season, obviously, each regular season game is less meaningful. We do the math for you. We say to you, when a football team wins its first game of the season, that's the equivalent of a baseball team winning its first, just for purposes of this conversation, call it 10 games. You're 10-0, and it's the same as the NFL team being 1-0. But 10-0, for whatever reason, feels way better, doesn't it? Or when you're 0-3 to start a season, which many teams are, all of a sudden everyone's like, oh no, what's happening? And we tell you, excuse me, that's like being down in the first quarter of week one and saying your season's over. We've already had so much change in the baseball season since the April, and we're only in mid-June. By the time we get to September, you'll look back on April and say, wait, what year was that? I can't quite remember. It happened in hour one when we talked about the torpedo bats. How many of you were focused on the Yankees torpedo bats against the Brewers and the number of runs they scored to start the season? And that's like a distant memory. NBA, they've been dealing with this, God, since I've been a fan of the NBA. They just call it something different now. They call it load management. Load management, meaning it's too hard. Players can't play 4 games in 5 days. They don't like playing back-to-backs. Hurts their body. Baseball players play back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back. Sometimes 10 games in a row. If you think baseball is not physically taxing, then you've not ever played baseball. The problem with shortening the regular season is that there's too many constituencies who are not in favor. When you've got a combination of TV, player union, and management, none of whom want to do something, it doesn't even come up. When the commissioner's office says they want to shorten the baseball season, they do, but it's part of an overall negotiating strategy with the union for collective bargaining. When the NBA comes up with load management rules about you better play 65 games or you're not going to be eligible for postseason awards or you're not going to be eligible for all NBA teams, which is going to impact your maximum contract, and you can only be unbelievably filthy rich. You can't be super duper to the max, pun intended, rich. Turns out that is not any sort of incentive for any player. Hey, I got to play to 65. Turns out it doesn't matter. But the reason why the NBA does that is they're trying to be good partners to try to make believe that the regular season matters more than it does. Now, what does seeding matter in the NBA? Quick show of hands. What seed was Indiana? Quick, Oklahoma City, best team in basketball. Assume they were a 1 seed. What seed was Florida in the NHL playoffs? The Stanley Cup champion Panthers. Just by a show of hands, what seed was Florida? While we're at it, what seed was Edmonton? You see where I'm headed with this, right? Coca's shaking his head. Where I'm headed with this, which I will land right now, is that the NBA is not going to shorten its season because the NBA did a media deal that requires a certain length of season. Major League Baseball will not shorten its season in the next collective bargaining agreement because they will not be able to get to agreement on myriad other issues that will come up before you can even begin pondering what to do in terms of shortening your season. It's a good one, though.